Hey, what's good? I'm Lonnie Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate. I advocate for the healthy restoration of our family. I am here Monday through Saturday when time permits. I can't find my glasses, so I had to go find my old pair, and they've been through it and to it. So I'm sorry, but can't read without them, and we're here to read the Bible. I come here Monday through Saturday to read the Bible. Time permits, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is presently 12:13 Mountain Standard Time, and so we are here to read the Bible. I read the Bible from the perspective of what's behind this cover and this cover. No prior knowledge, no prior research, except for sitting in the church. But otherwise, I just am intending to read the Bible from a judgment-free zone and just calling a thing a thing. I'm not here to argue the validity of the Bible. I'm not here to discuss why I'm doing this aside from God told me to do it. So that's why I'm doing it. I was told to do it on live so that other people who want to know what's in the Bible but don't really want to sit down and read it, but would love to do it in a community environment, we could come together 6 days a week. Time permits, 12 Mountain Standard Time, 12 noon, and get her done. Right now we are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, love the Lord your God. So let's just get into it. We only made it through 2 chapters yesterday because I was running my mouth, so we just gonna read today. Hopefully nothing good happens because y'all know my commentary, but we gonna try to keep it straight on the word. Chapter 6. These are the commands, decrees, and laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you, your children, and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy long life. Hear Israel, and be careful to obey so that it may go well with you and that you may increase greatly in land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all of your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. That is a beautiful group of verses. Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 7. That was a beautiful collection of scripture. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The Lord is one. The Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your strength. With all of your heart. I know this is strength. So is this soul? I can say that. With all of your soul, with all of your heart, with all of your strength. Align that because you are God. These commandments that I give you today are to be in your hearts. Impress them into your children. Teach your children to live in alignment, to know who they are and to be one with themselves and with God. Talk about them when you sit at your home and when you walk along the road. So all you guys spending your time gossiping and talking about what's going on in the world and everybody else's issues, you are directly defying God. Completely out of alignment, because God is telling you whether you believe you are God or not. If you do believe in a God, God is clearly decreeing for you to, I give you today are on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at your home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. So you should only be talking about God. And those of you who know that you are God, you should only be talking about yourself. You should only be talking about healing yourself, how you can be the best version of yourself, how you can be progressive in this lifetime, backwards and forwards across dimensions. So right there, it tells me anything that you're doing within your home, anything that you're transferring into your children that is not progressive and is not of divinity, you are in direct misalignment with what you're called to do. I like that. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses on your gates. It's funny because my husband's like, I can't even talk to you anymore. I was like, yeah, because I only want to talk about progression. Like, if we're not talking about being the best version of ourselves, like, I don't mind talking about your day, but how did your day make you feel? How did your day impact you? How did your day grow you? If you experience frustration, how did you move through that frustration so that the next time you encounter this, you're not in frustration? That is divinity. That is God. That is clearing up and reprogramming yourself and restoring yourself to factory reset settings, which is how you were born into this lifetime. That is all I want to talk about. So when my husband talks about, I can't sit up and gossip with you anymore, he's not using the word gossip, but he's saying, I can't sit up and just talk to you about anything anymore. Yeah, because I don't want to talk about anything. I want to talk about progression, growing, and being the best version of ourselves. Like, I get excited about talking about how dope I have potential to be. And I want to talk with people who want to talk about how dope their potential is. And we can now get together and talk about our potential together and grow each other. And that is what God calls us to do. When the Lord your God brings you into the land He swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you, a land with large, flourishing cities you did not build, houses filled with all kinds of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Don't forget. Always cite your sources. Always give credit where credit is due. Always give people flowers. If you create the energy where you are always acknowledging people, you are now creating the energy where people will always acknowledge you. Do you understand? You receive that which you give. If you can't hold the door for people, then it doesn't bother you that people don't hold the door. But if you start holding the door for people, you'll start recognizing how many people actually don't hold the door for other people. So if you want to start giving compliments, and you will pay attention to how many people actually don't give compliments, how many people actually don't look out for each other. And now when you're sitting at home and you're like, man, I wish I had someone to talk to. I wish I had someone to look out for me. I wish I had. Now you must go within and look at yourself and say, are you expressing those things? Because once you start expressing those things, you really pay attention to who's around you that's supposed to be your friends and your family and your confidants, the people you surround yourself with, your tribe. You will realize how many people within your tribes are not giving you what you feel you deserve. And it's probably because you're not giving it, and you've surrounded yourself with people that make you feel comfortable. People who know what to do, but people who choose not to do. Because when you choose to do, you actually got to do. And many people do not want to do. I am going through that right now with my husband, where he wants to be a better version of himself. But in doing the becoming is an action. It's a verb. Hey, Trini, in order to become a better version of yourself, you must do work. Everybody don't want to do it, especially if you tricked your mind into believing that which you are today is your greatest self. It's a great version of yourself, but you can always get greater. Fear the Lord. Nope, that's not where we are. When the Lord your God brings you into the land He swore to your father. I read that part. Then when you eat I guess I did. Fear the Lord your God, serve Him only, and take your oaths in His name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you, for the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God, and His anger will burn against you. God is just jealous because you are God. If you are spending more time focused on everybody else, that is true idolatry. True idolatry is, I'm sitting here looking at Trinity, talking about what Trinity got and what Trinity is doing, and Trinity. God, the God in me, is looking at me like, why are you worried about her? Why are you idolizing her? Why are you worshiping her? To worship is to give her your energy, is to pay attention to you. Why am I giving that much energy that it even stirs my spirit up? Heck yeah, the God in me is going to get jealous, because the energy that should be stirring in me should be the energy that is keeping me progressing forward, keeping me growing, instead of looking at something outside of me idolizing it, envying it, expecting it to do something for me, while leaving the God within me dormant and ignored. Heck yeah, God is jealous. Because we don't understand, we look at gods as little figurines and, orishas. And the orishas, they are identified as gods, but they are orishas. They are something completely different. When I read this and I understand that I am God, and when it says that God is a jealous God because you are focusing on idols and gods, what I see is the God in me is jealous if I give any attention that stirs my soul and stirs my spirit. And I'm not giving that attention to myself. Because if I am going to do something that evokes emotion within me, it needs to always be focused on my God energy. Period. So that's how I receive today. Every time I read that, I read it differently. But I remember I had something, I think my daughter brought it up about idols. But it was an incomplete thought, so I can't get into it. But when we're giving so much attention to something that it evokes energy, I don't need you to sweep my room, but thank you. You gonna take him his toy?
Yeah, and I got put a pain bucket.
No, don't do that. Just let the adults do that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I get that in a different light today. I don't need you to sweep my floor, though. Thank you. Please go shut my door. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
But sure to keep talk to you later. Be sure to keep the commands of the Lord your God and the stipulations and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so that it may go well with you, and you may go in and take over the good land the Lord promised on oath to your ancestors, thrusting out all your enemies before you, as the Lord said. God said you can never go into the land flowing with milk and honey. You can never come into the promised land because you are not focused on God, the God in you. Do you understand the level of alignment you must be in order to access that which you have been promised in this lifetime? I don't even know because I ain't fully accessed it, but I'm accessing it. And I am aligned as I'm trying to get that thing so aligned that there is no line. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get mad at myself every time I give something my attention. We all get mad at ourselves. Why am I giving them my attention? Why am I giving them my attention? I should be focused on myself. Yeah, the God in me is mad. We supposed to be doing things. I done wasted 40 years out here in the wilderness. You done wasted however many years you are out here in the wilderness. Focus on everything but yourself. Focus on everything but the God in you. You should be angry. In the future, when your sons ask you, what is the meaning of the stipulations, decrees, and laws the Lord our God has commanded you? Tell him, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord sent signs and wonders great and terrible on Egypt and Pharaoh and his whole household. But he brought us out from there to bring us in and give us the land of promise on oath. He promised on oath to our ancestors. The Lord commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear the Lord our God, so that we might always prosper and be kept alive, as in the case today. And if we are careful to obey all this law before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us, that will be our righteousness. Chapter 7, Driving Out the Nations. When the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess and drive out before you many nations. Thank you for the love, y'all. Many nations, the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, 7 nations larger and stronger than you. And when the Lord your God has delivered them over to you and you have defeated them, then you must destroy them totally. Excuse me, why are we yelling? Michael and Caden? Stop yelling, please. And when the Lord your God has delivered them over to you.
Kim was messing with the peanut. I told him to put it back and wash his hands, but he didn't listen.
Well, the dog is outside, so the dog can pee outside. It doesn't need a mat. So just leave the mat alone, okay?
He put it outside.
It's not a toy.
Actually, he put it outside.
Okay, that's fine. Will you go shut my door?
Sure.
Thank you. Deliver them over to you, and you have defeated them, then you must destroy them totally. Make no treaty with them. Do you think you could close my door a little bit more silent? And show them no mercy. Yeah, both of you can leave my room right now, but nice and quiet. Thank you. Do not give your daughters to their sons, or take their daughters for your sons, for they will turn your children away from following me to serve their gods. And the Lord's anger will burn against you and will quickly destroy you. So once again, this is why God is like, you got to find somebody who understands to be progressive. I tell my daughter this all the time. When you're out here making friends, not all the time. Now I tell her, now that I understand that the ability to compromise is key. Compromising and working together and finding consensus is the difference between a successful relationship and a failed relationship. Because if two people come into any type of situation with their own agenda and they can't find a way to create their agenda, it is doomed to fail. So communication, I could communicate all day. Compromise is key for a healthy relationship. So if you know your God self and you know your divinity, and you come in and you with somebody who doesn't know themselves, but they are of this world, which means they are closed off to their higher consciousness and their ability to evolve and change at a cellular level because it's possible, and now you're trying to couple with them, and now you've created children with them, how are you going to raise those children? Yesterday or the day before, I was at the park with my husband, and our sons were with us, and Michael was talking about how he went down a hill and there's a big hole at the bottom of the hill. And I was like, man, if their tire get caught in that hill, I don't know what's going to happen, you know. And so Michael came up and he was like, I hit the hole, you know, I hit the big hole. And I was like, oh man, and you know, you survived it. You didn't fall. That's real dope. He was like, yeah. I was like, if you understood what people could do with their bikes, I was like, have you ever seen like the people with the BMX? I'll use regular language. I explained it out more for him because, you know, he doesn't know what BMX is. But I was like, have you ever seen the BMX bike riders where they're riding on the dirt roads and all the ramps and stuff and they're doing all the jumps and stuff? He's like, no, I've never seen it. I was like, yeah, well, you can get so good at riding your bike that any obstacle can come be underneath your tires and you know how to navigate it. That's how good you can get it. And somehow we started talking about jumping bikes. And I was like, yeah, I don't know anything about jumping bikes because I've never jumped a bike. And Dre said that's called a bunny hop. And I was like, okay, well, it sounds like your dad has more information about that. So maybe your dad can teach you how to do bunny hops since that's something he seems to know about. And Michael was like, yeah, I think I'm too young. And Dre was like, yeah, that's true. You are too young. And I was like, why would you clip his wings like that? And he was like, I didn't clip his wings, man. I can't say nothing right around you. I was like, Dre, do you think if you went on the internet right now and Googled 6-year-old dirt bike rider, you would find one? He was like, yeah, of course. I was like, so is it true that your son is too young to do a bunny hop? He's like, no. So I was like, why would you tell your son, who believes everything you said, that it is true that he is too young to do that? So when the Bible says, do not allow your children to mate with that which does not believe and know who I am God. I know my potential and divinity, but I go and mate with someone who doesn't know their potential and their divinity. It is not that we know God the same. God is very personal. Who God is to me is not who God is to you. Who God is to you is not who God is to your children. It shouldn't be. Because if you have true relationship, just like no physical world relationship is the same, no spiritual world relationship is the same. But is there a relationship there? Because how are you going to raise children if one parent sees and moves in divinity and the other sees and moves within the world? How do you raise a child? I finally see all the way in Deuteronomy what God means by serving other gods. It bumped up against the spiritualist in me and the spirituality in me, because I was just like, you got people working divinity and all these different things, and that you mentioning gods and, Laban's gods and Rachel and all that other stuff. And you didn't say nothing now, but now that the Egyptians, which are, symbolic or metaphoric or, actually the Black American experience, we're now talking negatively about the exact same gifts that I believe it was Joseph used in order to save Egypt from famine. You know what I'm saying? So it's either Jacob or Joseph. The J's get me mixed up, but you know what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is the same gifts that were used on your behalf are the gifts that you're saying that we're not allowed to access now.
Mommy, Mother thinks I'm a baby.
Are you a baby?
No, my boy he opened my birthday at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
5 days in my birthday.
Okay, so you're not a baby, so even if he called you that, he's not talking to you, because that's not what you are. Only respond to people when they say something to you that actually is of you. You're not a baby, so he's just talking silly. So he's the one with the problem, not you. So I would ignore him instead of yelling back and forth with him. Michael, you need to stop speaking to your brother that way.
Okay.
Why are you sitting here tearing him down when you should be building him up?
He was beating me up and I didn't like it.
So we need to keep our hands to ourselves. So instead of telling him things that are negative, you need to tell him, hey, that's not how you treat me. Will you stop eating yesterday's Chick-fil-A? Y'all get out of my room.
I eat Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but probably not yesterday's Chick-fil-A. This is what you are to do to them. Break down their altar, smash their sacred stones, cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their idols in the fire. And this is why y'all be out here just acting nasty in the name of the Lord. Y'all just be out here acting nasty in the name of the Lord. Feeling like y'all got the right to go into other people's sacred spaces talking about my God or else. Anyway, for you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. The Lord did not set his affection on you and choose you because you were more numerous than other people, for you were the fewest of all people. But it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your ancestors that he brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the land of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commands. But, nice little but, those who hate him will repay to their face by destruction. Those who hate him, he will repay to their face by destruction. He will not be slow to repay to their face those who hate him. If you don't have a relationship with God, you out here lost. Like, real talk. If you do not have a relationship with your higher self, you are the creator of your own destruction, because you are the creator. Therefore, take care to follow the commands, decrees, and laws I give you today. If you pay attention to these laws and are careful to follow them, then the Lord your God will keep his covenant of love with you as he swore to your ancestors. He will love you and bless you and increase your numbers. He will bless the fruit of your womb, the crops of your land, your grain, new wine and olive oil, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks, in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. He will be blessed. You will be blessed more than any other people. None of your men or women will be childless, nor will any of your livestock be without young. The Lord will keep you free from every disease. He will not inflict on you the horrible diseases you knew in Egypt, but he will inflict them on all who hate you. You must destroy all the people the Lord your God gives over to you. Do not look on them with pity, and do not serve their gods, for they will be a snare to you. And that is the truth. As I am doing the work And this is within the parallel that I'm making today. There's a parallel that I make every single time that I read about this God, capital G, versus God, lowercase g. But the parallel that I'm making today is those who know and are in contact with their higher selves and higher consciousness, and those who are stuck in this third dimension reality and completely cut off to who they truly are in their divinity. They are a snare to you. If you are coupling with someone who is not progressive, if you are coupling with someone who is not capable of change and evolution and healing and self-evaluation and self-reflection, if you are not connected with someone, they will be a snare to you, because you cannot progress with someone who is not capable of progression. That is why you cannot force someone's spiritual evolution. You cannot force someone to be able to move into a state of higher consciousness, because as you move into a state of higher consciousness, reality completely shifts and changes. I don't live in the same reality that a vast majority of the people live in. We don't live in the same reality. The world that I live in and the possibilities that I live in are probably not the possibilities with this audience. Yes, because we're on the same vibration or you wouldn't be here. But you understand, in the world, we vibrate and see the world completely different. The possibilities are... I want you to stop with the conflict. No, I told him to do it 3 times. He's not. He's cooking them for you. And I taught you how to do it, but you chose not to retain the knowledge or to remember. Therefore, someone is doing it for you, and allow them to do it. Either you take responsibility and remember how to do it, or you have to trust that he's doing it for you the way that I told him. So please stop opening my door. You see me working. Don't come in here again with your conflict. So, yeah. I can definitely see, but you can't, don't pity them. You can't take on nobody else's weight. You can't. I can't save my family. All I can do is transfer the tools necessary to them to do the work, but they have to do the work. You can't do this for someone else. And in the beginning, when I first started this, I was just like, man, how do I take my family with me? How do I take my family with me? Those of you who have been on the ride with me, you understand that was one of my first questions. As I ascend, how do I take my family with me? Yes, I have on my temporary glasses because I can't find my regular ones. And now I'm to the point where I'm going to transfer as many tools as I can to my family. I'm going to give them the... Michael and Caden, come here. I'm going to give them the directions on how to use the tools, because a lot of you guys have the tools. A lot of you guys are saying the right things. You're not looking for the people who are saying the right things. You're looking for the people who know how to implement the tools. No, I said come here. I asked both of you to come here. What are you doing, Michael?
I was just putting some ketchup on King's chicken.
Did he ask for ketchup? All you had to do was cook them for him, correct?
Yes.
And you know that he likes putting ketchup or his barbecue sauce on his own food, correct? Mm-hmm. So why would you do that? Because now you're creating conflict. Do the one thing you were asked to do. Cook it, and then go get some business. You don't go and do the step. Now you've created more conflict. Now he's choosing to respond the way that he's choosing, but you could have chose to just do what you were told to do and moved on.
You know why he was crying? Because I put ketchup on his chicken nugget.
That's what I told you. You shouldn't have done that. He didn't ask you to do that, did he? No. So you did what you wanted. You didn't do what you were told, and you didn't do what you were asked. Do what you're told. Do what you're asked. That wasn't being helpful, because if you were being helpful, you would have asked and said, hey, do you want me to do this for you? And he would have said no. So you weren't being helpful. You were doing what you wanted. And you need to make sure you're not doing that. Please go eat your food. You please leave. Thank you. Cut the whining and the crying out, or you're going to spend the day in your room. Do you understand? Because there's a way for you to express yourself and talk your feelings out without all this whining. I don't know. Go get some business.
I do want to not put ketchup on. I do.
So you should have asked. Come here. You should have asked. It's not about hearing him. It's about asking first. Do you want me just to put stuff on your food without asking? Or do you want me to ask first?
Ask first.
Okay, so stop stretching your shirt like that and treat people how you want to be treated. So I believe that you need to apologize And you can choose which part of that. You got a lot that you can apologize for. Now, please, out my room. I'm busy.
I am bottle, but you got my thing, I didn't know that, and I didn't know.
Okay, but he wasn't listening, so he wasn't respecting you. So going forward, we're going to work towards respect of others. Thank you. This is Bible study with me. Hey, Von Yvonne. You may say to yourself, these nations are stronger than we are. How can we drive them out? But do not be afraid of them. Remember well what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. You saw with your own eyes the great trials, the signs and wonders, the mighty hand and outstretched arm with which the Lord your God brought you out. The Lord your God will do the same to all. Calgon, take me away. I swear for Lord. Moreover, the Lord your God will send the hornet among them until even the survivors who hide from you have perished. Do not be terrified by them, for the Lord your God who is among you is a great and awesome God. The Lord your God will drive out those nations before you little by little, little by little, little by little. Do you understand? Whatever it is that you are facing in your life right now, God, as long as you're moving in your God energy, right? You're not on your own agenda, you're on God's agenda. God will drive out your enemies little by little. That which is before you, it is being removed. We're just waiting for the big swipe out, God's going to do the work, but it's little by little. And that is so that you can increase your faith and you can increase your knowing and your awareness and your belief and everything that comes in relationship with God. It doesn't happen overnight, especially when you've gone an entire lifetime being programmed to disassociate with your God divinity. You will not be allowed to eliminate them all at once, or the wild animals will multiply around you. See, there's a balance, right? There's a balance. Everything can't be instantaneous. If things were instantaneous, it will actually destroy you. If you truly receive that which you are praying for, like instantly, in the current state that you're in, it will destroy you. I saw a post yesterday or the day before where it said, would you rather have 10 million cash, an 850 credit score, or 100 acres of land? And I said, well, depending on my level of awareness and ability to manage and do something effective with any of those things, all of those are an asset, or all of those are something that can destroy me. So if you are not prepared for that which you are asking for, if you are not preparing yourself for that which you are praying for, you can't receive it, because it will be the causality of your destruction. And God's not here to destroy you. So you yourself, in your unwillingness to do what is necessary to receive and to come into the land flowing with milk and honey, you are delaying your blessing. You determine at what rate that obstacle that stands before you is destroyed. But know that it is destroyed little by little. Every step you take forward, a little bit more destruction is done. If you are not taking any steps forward, no destruction is done. And know that it can't be an all-at-once thing. And because it's not all-at-once thing, that's the faith builder. The Lord your God will deliver them over to you, throwing them into great confusion until they are destroyed. He will give their kings into your hand, and you will wipe out their names from under heaven. No one will be able to stand up against you. You will destroy them. The images of their gods you are to burn in the fire. Do not covet the silver and gold on them, and do not take it for yourselves, or you will be ensnared by it. So to that just makes me think about, energy. When you end a relationship, they say energetically, you need to remove anything that person may have given to you, anything that is related to that person. You move it out of your space because you are carrying that energy of that person. So when God is telling you, hey, if I'm removing something from you and you want to be delivered from it, you cannot take a trinket with it, because that trinket carries the energy that which you are asking to be removed. Yeah, I want out of this relationship. I want to stop circling back to this relationship. But I had a coat that I just gave to a homeless man. I saw that homeless man. He ain't got that coat no more. That really kind of, that messed with me a little bit. I released the coat so I didn't get upset. But I was like, man, I just gave you one of my possessions that I carried for 20 years, but why would I expect some man to appreciate something that had value to me? It's not necessarily going to have value to him. It was a dang good coat. Like, if you want to get warm, this was the coat to have. But this coat came from an ex. Bailey is 19 years old, so that coat is 20 years old or older. Her dad bought me that coat. So for 20 years, I carried something that energetically was given to me, or he gave me the money to buy it, but was given to me by someone. So I carried this man's energy for 20 years behind the sentimental value of a coat. So just make sure, you ain't taking with you that which you ain't supposed to take with you, that you're asking to be delivered from. For it is detestable to the Lord your God. Do not bring a detestable thing into your house, or you, like it, will be set apart for destruction. Regard it as vile and utterly detested, for it is set apart for destruction. Chapter 8. Do not forget the Lord. The noise in my house is really bothering my spirit right now. My family is just bothering my spirit right now. There's a lot going on right now that is just bothering my spirit. And I am in the midst of a transition to where typically when something is bothering my spirit, I speak about it. And I am being tested to not say anything. And it's very difficult because I am like a pressure cooker. Those of you who have a pressure cooker or Instapot, you have to and let the steam out, right? And I have identified that when I say something, and we have to understand that just because we're saying something doesn't mean we have to be rude, disrespectful. It doesn't have to be any of those things. No, to say something is to just acknowledge that these are the feelings that I'm feeling, and you're the causality of these feelings. Yes, I am choosing to have these feelings, but it's your behaviors or whatever is transpiring that's causing these behaviors to manifest. And so I have the right to say what it is that I'm feeling. But I feel that in this space that I am being carried, it is time for me to elevate past the even need to say it. Because once I say what's bothering me, I'm back to normal. I got all this pressure cooking up. And if I could just say something, I could get back to normal. But I'm in a space right now where I can't even say nothing without causing more issues. So I just got to deal with it internally. And so my mind is here, but my mind and my energy is somewhere else because I'm bothered. And then to hear this kid just crying about nothing in the background because that's his methodology of expressing his distress, it's just a lot for me. So sorry. Chapter 8. Do not forget the Lord. Be careful to follow every command I am giving you today, so that you may live and increase and may enter and possess the land the Lord promised on oath to your ancestors. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness there 40 years to humble and to test you, in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his old commands. That's pretty powerful. He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had known, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothes did not wear out, and your feet did not swell during these 40 years. Know then in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, so the Lord your God disciplines you. That was some powerful stuff right there. Y'all out here taking this literal. Y'all totally missing the mark. Y'all gotta really see what's going on here. Observe the commands of the Lord your God, walking in obedience to him and revering him, for the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with brooks, streams, and deep springs gushing out into the valleys and hills, a land with wheat and barley, vines and fig trees, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey, a land where bread will not be scarce and you will lack nothing, a land where the rocks are iron and you can dig copper out of the hills. When you have eaten and are satisfied, praise the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God. No matter how blessed you come into your blessings, you always need to know your blessings are that of God. You didn't create this alone. You are a co-creator. Your higher self is guiding you and giving you the tools and clearing out the spaces and moving obstacles out of your way and opening doors and closing doors and shielding you from danger seen and unseen. Like, there are so many energies of God divinity that are moving around you, just orchestrating your life so that you could just take one step forward. So if you are not taking the time to honor your ancestors, honor your higher self, honor your spirit guides, honor God, honor whoever your team is that you identify, if you are not taking the time to show that respect, you are taking that which is carrying you through life for granted. And his laws and his decrees that I am giving you this day. Otherwise, when you eat and you are satisfied, when you build fine houses and settle down, and when your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold increase, and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud, and you will forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. So as you continue to do the work, I believe God is talking to me through this. As I continue to work and I begin to be elevated into the position that I have been praying for, and I know that I came to this life to do, the work that I came to this life to do, I will be given the opportunity to do that work on the level, in the scale, on the stages that I see myself doing it. But as I do that, I must always remember, first, my humble beginnings, right? This is humility. Do you understand me sitting here? Somebody asked me the other day, how can you sit here on a live and there's only 2 people? How can you sit on the live and there's nobody here? How can you sit here and talk to yourself? This is humility, not humiliation. This is humility. This is me being humbled. This is me saying, hey, can you show up and do what I called for you to do without having what you want? Can you do what I want before I give you what you want? Because if I just give you what you want, you won't appreciate it. You'll take it for granted. But if I make you work for it, you show up day after day. Y'all understand, those of you who's on here that's been riding with me from day one, I've been on these lives by myself for a very long time. For a year and some months now. I've been going live talking to myself for some time now. and I'm still doing it. I'm still being obedient. But God is telling me, okay, now when these gates do open up, when these opportunities do present themselves, I need you to experience and express that same humility and know where it came from. Yes, I showed up. My physical form showed up. But my spirit self, my spirit team, my God cleared the pathway, opened the doors, and opened the floodgates so that now, because I have been showing up, there's an audience for the show up. It was a partnership. No man walks alone. It was as long as you are moving in divinity. And once you receive what it is you are working to receive, you must never forget where you got it from. Because you'll stop getting it. And then you yourself got to figure out how to maintain it. And that's when you start doing that crazy stuff that you see all these celebrities out here doing, because they're trying to maintain that which they never went through God to create in the first place. We can create that which we desire. We can create it. But if your co-creator wasn't God, your co-creator wasn't divinity, you're going to have to do some real strange stuff to keep it. And I don't want that. So He led you through the vast and dreadful wilderness, that thirsty and waterless land, and its venomous snakes and scorpions. He brought you water out of hard rock. He gave you manna to eat in the wilderness, something your ancestors had never known, to humble and to test you so that in the end it might go well with you. You may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. I did this. I did do this. I wasn't going to go live today, but I said, you're not going to not show up for yourself. So I physically had to choose to get up and to be here. But I know that this isn't me. I'm the vessel. I have to will the vessel forward. That which the vessel produces is all God. Let me see. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce the wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors as it is today. So yes, I'm getting up and doing the work, but God is doing the blessing. Because look, I've been getting up doing this work since December 2022. I've been getting up doing this work with one person on my live. I've been getting up doing this work with, 299 views on my video or less. I've been showing up doing the work with 12,000 followers. Can't move past that number. I cannot get to 12.1 because I am stuck. TikTok is keeping me stuck. But I'm still showing up. That is my choice. So when the wealth in abundance does start producing itself, it is not for me to say, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I can celebrate the fact that I maintained I maintained faith enough to keep showing up and trusting that the promise that God has given me in this lifetime has given my ancestors. Do you understand? My mother was born so that I can be born. Her mother was born so that she can be born. Her mother was born so that they can be born. Their mother was born so that we all could be born. Our ancestors have been moving in our promise their entire lives and didn't even know it. I am moving in someone's promise, and I know. So I'm living with purpose. And you know that you were born for a reason. You may not know why you were born. You may have just been born to birth that which needs to be birthed. You may have been born just to plant a seed in a place that the seed needs to be planted. Everyone in the army has a role. Everyone isn't a general. Everyone isn't a lieutenant. Everyone isn't a captain. But everyone has a role. Everyone has a position. Everyone has a very vital piece to play. And you have a very vital piece to play. You have to know that, even if you don't know what your vitality is. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant which He swore to your ancestors as it is today. If you ever forget the Lord your God and follow other gods and worship and bow down to them, I testify against you today that you will surely be destroyed. Like the nations the Lord destroyed before you, so you will be destroyed for not obeying the Lord your God. Tomorrow we'll read chapter 9, but I just want to say we really have to get off of this thinking that when God is talking about other gods, God is talking about other faiths and religions, other pathways to God. There are many pathways to the same God. If you were to actually educate yourself and read the texts associated, I haven't read them, but I know enough to know, because I know people and I've talked to people of these different faiths. Instead of saying, you're wrong, you're going to hell. Instead of being that person, I have conversations with these people. And what you'll understand is the basis of their faith and their text is the exact same as this. It's just different. These are all just control mechanisms. These are all just tools to keep the people into a certain group. And once we put you in a group, you start moving like the text tells you to move. When God is telling you stop following other idols and following other gods, God is not talking about other pathways to God. What God is talking about is you looking at other humans. Because we are duality. We are flesh and spirit. But many of us live in the flesh. Many of us live in the flesh. We are so disconnected to our divinity. Even people who go to church every day. If you are not seeing progression in their life, and progression isn't money, we think that somebody is doing what they're supposed to be doing because they got the money. If you listen to that Mary Mary sound, it's the God in me. Everybody who is showing the God in them is getting money. Why is getting money the definition that you're being blessed by God? That is chasing their wealth and hating ourselves. We are God and we are divinity. We are. All you need to know is I am. Merch available at LonnieLifestyle.com. Yeah, this is my mess up shirt, but I like it anyway. Your shirt won't be messed up. Go and check out your sweatshirts over at LonnieLifestyle.com. But what I'm saying is, we have to understand to sit around and spend any of your mental capacity doing anything than focusing on your divinity. Growing yourself. If you're in a relationship, growing your spouse, growing your relationship. If you're a parent, growing your family. That's a 24-hour day right there. Why do you have time to focus on what album Beyonce dropped? Why do you have time to focus on, what soundbite Trump put out? Why do you have time to focus on what else is going on in the world right now? I know what's going on in the world, but I'm not focused on it. If any of that stuff gets my attention, it's because I'm processing what it means to me, not because it has now captured my attention. How many hours of your life do you give to people outside of you? And not your husband, not your wife, not your children. A random fucker that cut you off in traffic. How many hours of your life have you given that person? That is a false God, because you are the only God you should be focused on. That person cut me off in traffic. That's all the energy they get. What did it mean to me? How did it make me feel? Who, what, when, where, why, how, and whatever the other one is. That's focusing on the God in you. Focusing on them is focusing on idolatry. Small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events. Brilliant minds, progressive minds talks about changing the world, changing themselves, and evolution. You decide at any given time during your 24 hours a day, are you going to be small-minded, average-minded, or brilliant? I am Lonnie Appleton. I'm a healthy family advocate. If you are not familiar with me, I advocate for the healthy restoration of our families, starting with ourselves, healing ourselves. Follow the community, get to know us. We're a dope group of people. We're small and mighty and growing. I go live Monday through Saturday when time permits at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is presently 1:07, so an hour and 7 minutes ago-ish, I began to go live. So if you're interested in my form of Bible study, truly getting into this, asking some questions and figuring out how we can live this progressively and grow ourselves, check us out. I'm here. I don't go live on Sunday, so I won't be here on Sunday. At present, I don't have to work on Monday, so I should be here. But if I'm not here, it's because I have something to do. But when I am here, check me out. Just hop in on TikTok at 12 noon-ish and see if I'm here. I'm always late, but I'm here. And yeah, those of you who want to support the community, those of you who want to link up with me, you can start your healing journey getting familiar with me through checking in on the content. Lonnie Lifestyle, not Lonnie at all, As the Apple Turns. Watch the videos, start doing the work, start asking questions, start healing yourself. You can support the community by donating to the Cash App, LONEEAPPLETON, Lonnie Appleton. If you would like to shop the merch, you can always pick up my merch, which features my art as well as popular sayings that I say throughout the history of our channel. So that would be LonnieLifestyle.com. If you're interested in coaching services, I am a coach, life and relationship coach. I also do mentorship. So if you need to get one-on-one and really start doing the work, if you could go do a crab boil or you could go get your crab legs and your lobsters, you can pay for some healing. Get you an hour and 45 minutes with me where we start asking the real questions and doing the work. And you sitting there, you really figuring yourself out. And I'm helping you do it. I leave you with homework. I leave you with assignments. I leave you with answers. Something you probably never received before. I teach you how to get there by yourself. Therefore, at some point, you no longer need me. I'm also available for mentorships if you need more daily one-on-one help. Just check me out at LonnieLifestyle.com. I am a 2-time published author. My first book, the Domino series, is urban fiction. It's a real spicy from a 20-year-old perspective. From the 20-year-old spicy, yeah, it's that spicy. My second book is how I truly release myself from third dimension holds of being disconnected from divinity. That book is called What's the Best That Can Happen. That's available on Amazon. Just make sure the seller is Lonnie Taylor, or you could go through my website, LonnieLifestyle.com. Lastly, I generate energy worksheets, which means if you come to me, you say, honey, Lonnie, I'm working on love, I'm working on confidence, I'm working on being possessive, I'm working on whatever, breaking some sort of cycle. You come to me, I download an energy worksheet on your behalf from higher consciousness, so that like a worksheet in school that you used to fill out and figure things out, and I do the same thing, but it's from an energetic standpoint, healing you. And you'll find that the one thing that you came to me to work on, it uncovers 10 other things that you need to work on, and now you're really doing the work. And I also do higher consciousness downloads, so that if you come to me with a couple questions, I go to your higher self and your ancestors and I say, yo, what you got for them? And I get you the answers you need. So I'm available to you on many different avenues and availability. So get tapped into the network. I will be here, I believe, Monday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you very much. And I hope you do your journaling based on what we read today, because we read some good stuff.